0, 1, 2, and 3 Michelin stars. Ever wonder why one of the most prestigious awards in fine dining has a tire company name attached to it? Well, stay tuned till the end of the episode and we'll figure out why.
I just wanna ride my bike, yeah. I'm just sick of always watching the news. I just wanna go outside, yeah. Spend a weekend way up top with a view.
0, 1, 2, and 3 Michelin stars. Ever wonder why one of the most prestigious awards in fine dining has a tire company name attached to it? Well, stay tuned till the end of the episode and we'll figure out why.
I just wanna ride my bike, yeah. I'm just sick of always watching the news. I just wanna go outside, yeah. Spend a weekend way up top with a view.
Good morning, gamers, or evening, or whatever. So, this is our 25th episode. Isn't that crazy? Look at us. Look at us. We're growing this podcast. So, as you can see from the title, we're doing our 25th, and we're doing Michelin. So, how did I get inspiration for this episode? I was watching this show, and they mentioned Michelin star restaurant, and then I was like, tire company, food, what's going on here? So yeah, let's jump right into this. So just a little bit about what they do. So they're known for their travel, or they're known for manufacturing tires, Michelin tires. They're known for their travel guides, their red and green travel guides. We'll get into that later. The green is for travel, road maps and such, and red is for restaurants and prestigious awards, yada yada yada. We'll get into that. So this business, Michelin, was founded by Edward Michelin and Andre Michelin. These were brothers, these French brothers. So yeah, this is cool. And one cool finding is their official mascot. There's a lot of history to this mascot. Bibendum is known as the Michelin Man or Michelin Tire Man, and this mascot is one of the oldest trademarks in the world. And this remains one of the world's most recognizable trademarks. It's the tire dude, the Michelin Man tire from the episode, or from the TV ads. So it's just a dude, it looks like a mummy, but with tires. So yeah, it's pretty recognizable. Now let's jump into their rich history, super rich history. And actually, before that, we have to do something about the tires, just the history of tires. So, the first rubber tires appeared in the mid-1800s. They had two varieties. They had the solid rubber and the pneumatic or air-filled tires, which absorbs the shock. And then at the time, solid was more popular, it was durable, and so the pneumatic tires fell out of favor. And then in the late 1800s, bikes were becoming more popular, and the pneumatic tires were becoming more popular again. So in 1888, a Belfast veterinarian surgeon named John Boyd Dunlop obtained the patent for the pneumatic bicycle tire. But where Michelin comes into play is that the Michelin brothers, Edward and Andre, equipped pneumatic tires on automobile and raced it in the 1895 Paris-Bordeaux road race. They didn't win it, but it made their idea for the pneumatic tires on a moving car more enticing to the public. And yeah, they started to dominate the European tire market, and solid rubber tires began to lose trend on the road. So it began a trend for the next 50 years in the automobile of having an inflatable inner tube with a compressed air and a treaded outer casing to protect the inner tube, much like a bicycle tire in tube today. So let's jump into the history of Michelin. So 1889, Edward and Andre Michelin ran a rubber factory in Clermont-Ferrand, France. And so the story goes, a cyclist needed help with their pneumatic tire because they got a flat, and then Eduardo Michelin helped them repair the tire. And it was a hassle at first because the tire was glued to the rim, and it took about 3 hours just to remove and repair it. And you needed to let the glue dry inside, so you had to let it sit overnight. And this didn't last very long, the repair didn't last very long. It wasn't a very long-term option. Only lasted for about 100 yards or so. But the brothers had high hopes for the idea. They wanted to make a pneumatic tire that could be removable for ease and speed. And on May 28th, 1889, Michelin was officially incorporated. John Boyd Dunlop had made the patent for the pneumatic tire first, but Michelin got the patent for the removable pneumatic tire in 1891. And then in 1891, Charles Tarrant won Paris distance bicycle race with the Michelin tires. Again, with the popularity, 1920s, 30s, Michelin expansion to Vietnam to operate a rubber plantation, but it turned out to be a disaster because the French were very profit driven and they didn't treat their employees correctly, and living conditions were pretty bad, thus leading to Following due, a famous labor movement where the workers went on strike, and it was actually a communist instigated strike. So yeah, it wasn't very good there, so just bad stuff happening. And then 1934, they invented the run flat tire, which contained a little bit of foam in the tire. So if the tire ran through a puncture or something, over a piece of glass or something, the tire would run for 10 to 50 miles even after the puncture. And in 1948, Michelin introduced radial tires to Europe. So radial tires had the ply cords radiate at a 90-degree angle from the rim, and a casing which is strengthened by a belt of steel fabric that runs around the circumference of the tire. These ply cords were made from nylon, rayon, or polyester, and the pros were it lasted longer, better steering, and less rolling resistance, so that means better gas mileage. But the cons were that it was a harder ride, it's more complex and more expensive at the time, so about 45% more expensive to make. And the construction needed a different suspension from the traditional bias ply tires. So the radial tires became the trend for the next 20 years outside of the US. And then competition began to rise. You had a lot of different tire manufacturers. You had Michelin out of France, you had Bridgestone out of Japan, you had Pirelli out of Italy, and Continental out of Germany, and they all began to use this radial design. But we do things a little different here in the US. So the US didn't use these radial designs. The American automobile companies and tire companies thought this redesign of the suspension would cost too much, and this is their words, it's a freak product. And so they stuck with their outdated bias ply tires. So yeah, we're just a little stubborn right there, a little hard-headed. But in 1966, Michelin partnered with Sears to sell their radial tires under the Allstate brand, making scooters, motorcycles, and cars. And then 1968, Michelin opened their first U.S. sales office, and Consumer Reports magazine stated that the radial tires began to dominate the markets because their competitors just simply could not compete. So in 1970, North American had their first car with the standard radial tires, the 1970 Continental Mark III, which was contracted by Michelin. 1973, this is when the U.S. had the gas crisis hit. So the gas went from around 30 cents to $1 per gallon. And Americans wanted more fuel-efficient cars. So there was just a steady increase in imported cars. And it went up year after year from about 15% in 1973 to about 28% in 1980s. And since the world was using radial tires, Michelin and Bridgestone, they were very happy to supply this American market. Whoops, let me get my thing back on. And as a company this big, you need to expand. So in 1989, expansion, Michelin acquired BF Goodrich and Uniroyal. And in 2018, Michelin acquired the Camso, an off-road tire company. So today the market follows as Bridgestone at number 1, Michelin at number 2, Goodyear at number 3, and Continental at number 4, and Pirelli at number 5. So yeah, they're up there. A lot of competitors in this field do similar things, and tires are pretty expensive. I do believe that they're like $100 something per tire, and then you have to account for labor. So you're probably looking at like $1,000. I mean, tires they're not cheap, and they're very scary if you don't take care of them. So you kind of need to get them if you drive very often. You need to take care of them, and don't get those. I think it's like a resealer tire, or it reuses. Or retreading. Don't do that. I heard those are terrible for your tires. So, we went over the history, the very rich history of Michelin, and how significant it was. So let's talk about their guys. This is what you guys are here for. So Michelin became associated with fine dining through their guides. So currently they have 2 guides. It makes sense. They're getting bigger and do more things, provide value to the customer in different ways. So they have the green guides, which is just helping travelers find places to visit, find cool things to do, find cool places to stop. And then you get the red guides, which is the fine dining, and the restaurants. This is what people know the Michelin star is about, or what they're for. So Michelin's thinking early on was, yes, we can make these really great long-lasting tires, but if people don't use them or know where to go, how will we get more customers? So that's what they're thinking. And then Michelin decided to add an ancillary revenue stream with these guides. So originally, it was supposed to help truckers and drivers find mechanics, fuel up, and buy more Michelin tires if they needed so. And the little red guides were originally free for the first 2 decades. It was mainly to promote automobile tourism because there weren't very many cars on the road at this time. There was less than 3,000 in the early 1900s. Michelin started to charge for the information for these little guides because he saw one of his guides being propped up on a workbench, and his principle was that man only truly respects what he pays for. So after that incident, the guides were sold for 7 francs. So moving forward, more information was added to these guides, like hotels, restaurants, and potential areas to visit. So these highly regarded restaurants